On Saturday the 8th of February, just earlier this month, a 50-year-old teacher named Gary Jones set out on Lake Oconee with his fiancée Joycelyn Wilson to celebrate his birthday. But despite their plans for a peaceful evening on the water, this unfortunately couldn't have been further from the truth. Later that night, their empty fishing boat was found circling near Wallace Dam, with Gary's wallet and hotel keycard being left behind. But by the next day, Joycelyn's lifeless body was discovered floating in the lake, still clutching her phone, but Gary was nowhere to be found. Authorities soon uncovered more unsettling details, as his shoes were discovered drifting near the shoreline, implying that his body was likely to be located not too far away. However, despite extensive searches and growing speculation, almost 3 weeks on from this tragic mystery, Gary remains a missing person, leaving his family desperate for answers as they are only left to wonder. What really happened to Gary Jones, and who could be responsible? Gary LaRon Jones was born on the 8th of February in 1975. Where he was raised in a loving and supportive household, and from a young age he was already displaying his natural abilities for teaching and mentoring, a passion that would later define his career. Not much is known about his early childhood, but what we do know is that Gary was a dedicated and disciplined individual. He excelled academically and athletically, which eventually led him to pursue a career in education. His love for coaching and teaching made him a respected figure in his community, and he became a beloved coach and teacher at the Westminster schools in Atlanta. Throughout his life, Gary was known for his kindness, patience, and unwavering dedication to his students, as well as his own children, who adore him to this day. But while he poured much of his energy into his career, Gary's personal life also held great significance to him. At some point, he met Joycelyn Wilson, a brilliant and driven math instructor at Spelman College. The two had originally crossed paths years earlier at Clark Atlanta University, but reconnected later in life. Their relationship blossomed, and before long they were engaged to be married, with their wedding set for March 14th, 2025. So, with his career thriving and his personal life seemingly falling into place, things were really looking up for Gary. But in one moment, everything would suddenly change, when the pair would mysteriously disappear on that fateful day in February. On Saturday the 8th of February, the 50-year-old teacher and his fiancée set out for what should have been a joyous weekend getaway at Lake Oconee in Georgia. The couple had been planning to celebrate Gary's birthday with a peaceful evening on the water, so when the couple arrived that day, they went straight to the Marathon gas station off Greensboro Road near the Fishtail Marina, and Gary proceeded to launch his boat into the water. His fiancée Joycelyn then drove the pickup truck with the attached boat trailer to the lodge on Lake Oconee, where she parked the vehicle and checked them into the hotel. And as she did this, Gary had been driving the boat from Fishtail to the lodge, before helping his soon-to-be wife load some items onto the boat before they headed out onto the lake. So by 3:30 p.m, they had successfully begun their adventure as they set off for what was supposed to be a relaxing afternoon. But at some point during their trip, something would go terribly wrong. Later that afternoon, at approximately 5 p.m, their boat was found aimlessly circling near Wallace Dam, completely empty. The boat was reported to the police, and after arriving on the scene and climbing on board the boat, investigators immediately found Gary's wallet, credit cards, and a hotel keycard, along with some other personal belongings, including a piece of birthday cake he had brought with him. But surprisingly, neither Gary or Joycelyn were anywhere in sight. So, keen to find out more information, on the following day authorities would begin scouring the surrounding area for clues, hoping to find something that would give them a lead. But unbeknownst to the search team, this story would have a far from happy ending, as they would soon find out when they made a grim discovery out on the waters of Lake Oconee. On Sunday the 9th of February, the Putnam County Sheriff's Office would receive a report from one of the search parties that a discovery had been made about half a mile away from where the abandoned boat was initially found. After learning from a friend about the missing couple, local residents Jeff and Christy Everett took their boat out Sunday morning to assist with the search. And sure enough, after a few minutes of searching near the Wallace Dam, Jeff noticed a body floating in the water. The remains were quickly identified as belonging to Joycelyn, but one detail which immediately stood out was that Joycelyn's body was found clutching her cell phone, with her lungs clearly containing air as she floated upon the surface, strongly suggesting that she had not drowned. Gary's size 13 Nike shoes were also found floating near the shoreline, about 15 yards apart, and notably free of mud, indicating that they hadn't contacted with the bottom of the lake. So in response to these perplexing findings, Sheriff Howard Sills initiated a comprehensive investigation, treating the incident as a potential criminal matter rather than a simple drowning, especially as there was still one potential victim that was yet to be discovered. And rightfully so, the search for Gary intensified, employing sonar technology, canine units, helicopters and extensive ground teams. However, despite these efforts, no additional evidence would surface in the following days, and as weeks began to pass without any new leads, the case remained shrouded in mystery. But refusing to give up, the investigating officers were determined to keep searching for answers, and soon enough, there would be another major update to the investigation that would bring a new layer of darkness to the local residents of Lake Oconee. On Wednesday, the 21st of February, nearly 2 weeks after Gary Jones was last seen, his case was featured on multiple national news networks, including CNN and Fox News, in an effort to bring renewed attention to his mysterious disappearance. During these broadcasts, law enforcement officials were questioned about the various theories surrounding the case, particularly regarding the circumstances that led to Gary and his fiancée, Joycelyn Wilson, ending up in the water. The fact that Joycelyn was found clutching her phone with no water in her lungs resonated deeply with the public, leading to widespread speculation about what truly happened that night. As a result of the increased media coverage, discussions surrounding the case intensified on social media, with many questioning whether an accident was truly the cause of Gary's disappearance. Several online users began pointing out inconsistencies in the initial reports, while others speculated about potential foul play. These theories were further fueled by the eerie discovery of Gary's shoes floating near the shore, as well as the abandoned boat circling in the water. But despite the growing pressure from the public, authorities have maintained that they are keeping all possibilities open while continuing their extensive search of Lake Oconee. However, with no confirmed sightings of Gary since the night of February 8th, his family remains desperate for answers, holding on to the hope that new leads will come to the surface. So as the search stretches into its third week, the mystery of what truly happened to Gary Jones and his fiancée remains unsolved. So for now, all we can do is continue to share his story in the hopes that someone, somewhere, will come forward with the information needed to bring this case to a close. Now, unfortunately, as far as the official investigation goes, this is all we know for now. But thanks to the relentless efforts of Gary's family as well as the investigating police officers, his case continues to stay in the public eye, with social media campaigns and news outlets keeping the conversation going in the hopes that new leads will emerge. So with this in mind, we have to remain hopeful that it will only be a matter of time before more information comes to light, allowing Gary's loved ones to finally get the answers they've been desperately searching for. And if fate allows, maybe even reunite with him against all odds. However, considering that Gary Jones has now been missing for a significant period of time, despite the unwavering efforts of his family and authorities, the chances of a positive resolution seem to be slipping further away as the days pass. So with that, let's get into some of the potential theories. Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, one of the most straightforward theories is that both Gary Jones and his fiancée accidentally fell into the lake and drowned due to some kind of boating accident. Given that he and Joycelyn Wilson were out on a boat late at night, possibly in cold or unpredictable conditions, it's possible that something went wrong, such as a slip, a strong current, or a sudden medical emergency. Supporters of this theory point to the fact that Joycelyn was found in the water, which could indicate that Gary also ended up in the lake but has not yet been located due to the depth, temperature, or movement of the water. However, several factors cast doubt on this theory, and authorities have noted that the circumstances surrounding the incident do not align with a simple drowning. Despite extensive search efforts, including the use of cadaver dogs and dive teams, Gary's body has still not been recovered, which is unusual in typical drowning cases. Also, the boat showed no signs of damage, ruling out a collision as the cause of ejection. So in summary, while the accidental drowning theory accounts for some aspects of the incident, inconsistencies and the lack of concrete evidence leave room for alternative explanations. So with this in mind, what else could explain this strange incident? Well, another theory suggests that foul play could have been involved in Gary's disappearance. Some online sleuths and even members of the public have raised questions about the nature of Joycelyn's death, particularly the fact that she was found with her phone in hand and no water in her lungs, suggesting that she may have been deceased before entering the lake. This has led to speculation that Gary may have witnessed or been involved in an altercation that resulted in foul play, and his disappearance could be an attempt to cover up the true events of that night. Additionally, some have pointed out the racial demographics of the Lake Oconee area, which has a predominantly white population. While there is no direct evidence to suggest a racially motivated crime, the possibility of racial tensions playing a role in their deaths cannot be ruled out. Others have questioned whether Gary's disappearance could be connected to organ harvesting, as cases involving missing black individuals have previously raised concerns about the illegal organ trade, which is known to operate in the state of Georgia. However, at this point in the investigation, law enforcement has not confirmed any evidence pointing to foul play, and all of these theories remain purely speculative at this stage. But if for argument's sake we rule out foul play or a boating accident, could it be possible that there could be an entirely different explanation that is yet to be considered? Well, the third major theory that is being discussed online is that Gary Jones may have intentionally disappeared, whether due to personal reasons, financial struggles, or some other unknown factor. Some believe that he may have staged his disappearance or fled the scene under distress. However, from what I can see after reading countless articles online, there was absolutely no clear motive for Gary to abandon his life, family, and responsibilities. Additionally, investigators have not reported any evidence of him preparing for a disappearance, such as withdrawing large sums of money, leaving behind a note, or making any travel arrangements. So for now, authorities continue to search Lake Oconee, but as time passes, pressure is mounting for new leads. The truth is, this harrowing mystery remains unsolved, and without more evidence, none of these theories can be confirmed. The hope is that further investigation, forensic analysis, or new witness testimonies will help shed light on what truly happened to both Gary Jones and his soon-to-be wife, Joycelyn Wilson. So until then, all we can do is continue to share their story, and hope that the answers will soon be revealed in due course. But just before I end the video, I wanted to briefly speak about two other cases where black men disappeared near large bodies of water, as I think it would be useful to show how cases such as these can sometimes take a long time to solve, and how they aren't always as simple as they seem. So, on Sunday the 10th of December, just last year, a 19-year-old man named Daquan Rountree decided to run from his home in Portsmouth, Virginia, after suffering from an apparent mental episode, before he would seemingly vanish into thin air. The next day, Daquan was quickly reported missing by his father, as he was rightfully concerned for the safety of his child, given the young man had left the house with no clothes or his cell phone. However, later that day, a tip came in from a woman living nearby who claimed to witness a naked man running down the street around an hour after he disappeared. So with this new information, the Portsmouth police, working alongside the local community, then conducted several searches in the hopes that they would find the troubled teenager before it was too late. However, despite the huge efforts of everybody involved, they sadly could not prevent the tragic event that had already taken place, as after searching around his place of work at the Norfolk Naval Shipyard, they would discover his lifeless body in the surrounding water. The police then attempted to investigate the possible crime and would inevitably conclude that no foul play was involved, leaving his family distraught by the fact that they may never know what truly happened to their loved one. which is unfortunately the exact same situation that occurred to yet another young black man who disappeared near a large body of water. On Saturday the 25th of November in 2023, a 25-year-old veteran and father of two named Jamell Lee Heung II was spending the night with some friends when he would suddenly disappear without a trace. He was last seen at the Indian Head Naval Base in Maryland, where he lived with his wife and two young children, alongside many of his friends who were also based in the same area. It is still unknown what happened that night, but at around 2 AM, Jamell decided to leave the bar, likely heading back to his family, but strangely, he would never make it home. A missing persons report was made shortly after, and the Charles County Sheriff's Department would eventually act after 48 hours, sending officers out to his last known whereabouts. However, after searching the surrounding area and sending divers into a nearby creek, they were soon mortified to discover Jamell's car submerged under the water. But to everyone's surprise, after continuing to search the creek, the divers were unable to find any trace of Jamell himself. However, just a few days later, the Charles County Sheriff's Office were eventually notified about a body that was discovered around 2 miles away from Slavin's Dock, the very same location where Jamell was last seen. And after examining the body, it was revealed that it did in fact belong to the young father of two. But despite an investigation into the death of Jamell taking place right away, over a year later, we still have no idea what really happened to him, leaving his family desperate for answers and understandably heartbroken over the loss of their loved one. So, taking these cases into account, I don't think it would be too much of a stretch to assume that Gary Jones may end up being discovered in a similar fashion to both Daquan or Jamell, especially given the fact that his fiancée was also found deceased shortly after his disappearance. But regardless of these facts, until further evidence is uncovered, we have to keep all options open to ensure that no stone is left unturned and Gary's family receive the answers they deserve. Anyway, on that note, I think I'll leave this video here. But as always, if you have any other theories of your own which you think may help explain what really happened to Gary Jones, please leave your ideas in the comments down below and I'll do my best to get back to you. But until next time, thank you so much for watching and make sure to subscribe to the channel for updates on these stories. Also, if you found this video interesting, feel free to check out the playlist on screen now, which covers the many other stories of black men who have disappeared in recent years under similar circumstances.